Google Trends say that the search for housing market crash has gone up 284% in the last month. What that tells us is there are a lot of people concerned that the real estate market is about to crash. They also want to know what these sharp interest rate hikes have been doing to our economy. So today we're going to talk about that and more in our November 2022 Utah market update. But before we get into all of that, I want you to know one thing stands out. One thing is rest assured, Utah has always been a huge growth market, meaning people have always wanted to live here, work here, recreate here, and raise a family here. It's been that way through good markets and bad markets. So, one other thing that might give you a little bit of rest is that the National Association of Realtors just put out some stats from a survey that they did. Less than 1% of homes are in foreclosure or in need of short sale. So this is fantastic news. So what's really going on in the market? We've seen a sudden sharp rise in interest rates. Interest rates are between high sixes, low sevens right now. And what this does is it affects our buyers' ability to purchase. So a monthly payment could be a couple $100 to $1,000 more than it would have been last year. But inventory this year is higher. So what does this mean for a buyer? What are the pros? What are the cons? The pros in this market are your contingencies are back. The competition is lower. You're not having to compete with over 30 people, and sellers are willing to give concessions. So let's dig into that a little bit more. What do you mean contingencies are back? This time last year, we had buyers waiving their appraisal, waiving their inspections, waiving their earnest money just to get into a home. That is no longer happening. This year, this time, we have our buyers are able to do their inspections, take time on making the decision if this home is right for them or not. They're getting appraisals, and they're not waiving full earnest money just in order to get a house. These are some great pros. Sellers are also willing to pay concessions at this time, meaning they're willing to put some money from their proceeds towards your closing costs, or even do a 2-to-1 buy down, which we'll discuss that in just a minute. The con, the interest rates are higher. And you may have heard the saying going around that it's better to buy a home $30,000 less than list price at 7% interest than it is to buy a home $100,000 over list price at 2% interest. And I would have to agree. What else is going on? Our mortgage rates have increased. They're a little bit unpredictable right now, so it's really important to know the tools that you have available to you. It's so important right now to have a team that is working for you. A good realtor who understands the market, who understands the trends that are going on in negotiation, but also to have a lender who is behind you, who is looking out for your best interests and has tools in their tool belt. So what we're seeing right now is something called a lock and shop rate. So you're able to lock with some lenders for up to 90 days and continue to shop. So if the interest rate goes low, you can lock into that interest rate, continue to look for a home. When you find it, that rate stays. So some lenders are offering that. The other thing that we are seeing is the 2-to-1 buy down. So let me explain what the 2-to-1 buy down is. This isn't a mortgage agreement that allows you to have a lower interest rate and a lower payment for the first year. Then the second year it increases, and the third year it increases again, and then it stays at that interest rate for the rest of the loan. So this is the 2-to-1 buy down. We're also seeing sellers, like I said, willing to pay some of their proceeds towards your concession, so towards your closing costs, or they're willing to put money towards your rate buy down. So if you had an interest rate, if today's interest rates were 7% and they gave you some of the concessions, you can buy down your interest rate, say to 6.5, 6.25, depending on what you negotiate. Again, this is why it's important to have a realtor who understands the trends and understands negotiations in this current market. Now, fourth quarter seems to be a great time for our buyers. There is less competition and sometimes more inventory. You at least have sellers who are ready and willing to negotiate. They've put their home on the market in the holidays. They're ready to sell. So there's usually some negotiation power there. One thing we're seeing for sellers right now, average days on market are about 52. So we're seeing less showings, about 1 to 2 a week, and in some areas 1 to 2 a month. So if you're a seller and you're on the market and you're only seeing 1 to 2 showings a week, this is average, this is normal. It's not a time to panic, but it is a time to talk to your realtor about maybe being able to offer those concessions to the buyer, marketing your property to be able to take the sting away from the buyer's interest rate. Again, it's more important than ever to have an experienced realtor who knows the trends, who knows what's going on, and we here at Maki Real Estate are in the market. We are studying the market every single day. We know what's happening with our buyers and our sellers and the interest rates, and we're here to help you. So follow along on here at YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram at Maki Real Estate Group and on our website at makirealestate.com.